In this week's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be creating a digital piece of art for the Samsung Frame TV. So the Samsung Frame TV is essentially a smart TV, but then doubles up as a picture frame. And these are a couple of pieces that I've created sort of this week just by playing about in Procreate. But in this week's video, I'm going to show you how to create a piece of art for your TV. So this is going to be sort of an abstract impression of a landscape, I suppose. But the challenge for this week's video is we're just going to be creating this scene or this painting in one layer. In my previous videos, I talk about sort of using different layers to build up different effects. And also feel free to download this week's colour set as well. So what I try to tend to do when I create an abstract landscape impression is not to give too much detail away. I try and let your eye and your imagination draw you into the painting. Let's get started. So we're going to duplicate this painting so we've got the size exactly the same, and then we're just going to go straight in and we're going to clear that layer. So to start with, in the colour set, we're just going to fill that one layer with an overall blue, but in fact I'm going to change that to something slightly darker. So we're going to fill that one layer with an overall blue colour. I like to sort of start my painting with a base colour rather than just a white canvas. Not going to touch layers at all. All we're going to be doing is touching brushes and touching different colours as well. So to start with, you want to sort of build up those different layers of colour. So what I'm going to be doing is just going into these blues, and I'm just going to be using this oil brush, and I'm just going to be going backwards and forwards across the whole canvas, and I'm just sort of layering in that paint. And then I'm picking up on a lighter colour for this sort of middle section. And I've got quite a big brush size. I'm not adjusting the brush size at all. I'm just literally applying different backwards and forward strokes. And then maybe at the top it goes a lot darker.
Is it alright if I stay today? Is it alright if I stay today?
So you're just looking to sort of build up, and you're just sort of creating different values of colour on top of each other. And it starts to give an impression of the sky. And then same again, we're going to be doing a little bit more grey towards the middle. And I've just reduced the brush size there.
Is it alright if we just stay today?
If you're new to painting on the iPad Pro, I suggest that you purchase a matte screen protector. This really gives the impression of paper when you've got the Apple Generation 2 pencil and you're drawing over the top of the iPad. If you're drawing straight onto the glass that the iPad comes with, it doesn't give a natural feel to it, and it can really sort of put you off using the iPad as a tool to paint. So next we're going to go in with a thin layer of this yellow, and I'm trying to sort of create some kind of highlight in the sky as though it's a sunset.
Is it alright if I don't want?
And then we're going to go with a slight pinky value, and we're going to just blast some of that in as well.
Is it alright if I waste my time and not lead myself to
into there? So this initial stage is just getting those different values onto that one layer, as I say, completely working on one layer. And now it's a case of what we're going to be doing now is adding some more paint over the top. We're going to be using the smudge and the erase tool to then create that sort of foreground and background sort of texture. So I'm going to work on the sky to start with, and for that we're just going to be using Dove Lake brush, and it's a bit of a blending brush that we can push some of this paint across. And what this brush does is it sort of creates instant clouds and sort of textures as well. I'll zoom in and sort of see that it breaks up the colour. It creates some instant effects, which is pretty cool. just as we get further down the horizon, I'm just reducing that brush size. Just want to add some of that detail in there. Okay, so now we want to add a little bit more detail in. So we're going to go back to the oil 5 brush. I'm going to add a little bit more foreground in. So we're going to pick up on some of these peachy, reddy colours. We're just going to add a smallish brush. Just going to get some kind of paint going on in there.
Holding my head again, making my way through crowded thoughts. Sometimes it's hard to get out of it.
And next we're going to try and get that horizon just a little bit straighter. So we're going to go in with quite a light blue. And we're just going to mark across our horizon line. And then if you click and hold, you can let that go and get that really straight. We're going to keep our horizon there, and then we're just going to shade in underneath that as well.
Bringing out the fight, yeah, bring on all the lightning, 'cause I'm looking for.
And then again with our smudge tool, take the opacity down slightly.
Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard. Pick it up, dust it off when I fall down 11.
Okay, we're just going to add a smallish brush, a bit more detail in that middle part of the sky. Just that bright section that I want to feed into that middle. And maybe take the opacity down on the white.
Remind me no one's got me like myself. Yeah, I love me without any.
And don't forget you can smudge in some of the blue. You don't always have to work completely along the horizon. The sky sort of changes up and spreads out as well.
I found one. Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard. Pick it up, dust it off when I fall down 11. I get up 12, don't need nobody else. Yeah, I can save myself. Oh. Crumble into pieces, but I got a million reasons why I won't.
Okay, we're just going to create a little bit harder contrast in that sky right at the top. So big old brush. Just feeding in some of that dark paint as though it's some big moody cloud.
Carry the hurt when it gets too hard. Pick it up, dust it off when I fall down 11. I get up 12.
I'm just going to ever so slightly brighten up that dark colour that we've added in. Okay, now we're going to work back on the foreground, so the same oil brush. I'm going to bring in some grey. So what I'm doing now with the oil brush is I'm dabbing rather than moving it to side, and this is going to add in some of that detail.
It's all in our hands, this life of time that's given to us all. It gathers round each night, each morn. We watch it pass and grow. It is all in our hands, it is all in our hands. With every field and rising sea, can hear the sounds of all, and with every change we'll always be where hope's not
So just like a real painting, this is exactly one layer and we're just feeding the paint over the top. Next up we're going to use the syrup tool, which is a calligraphy or basically a pen tool. It allows you to draw some real nice mark making that sort of represent some of those high cloud lines that we get here in the UK. So we're just giving off an impression of some kind of lines that are happening in that foreground, and then we're just going to blur them out as well with that blur tool.
And we know the change will surely come.
And then with that exact same tool, slightly small brush, we're now just going to play on using some of those pinks, the yellows and some of the blues, and we're just going to create some kind of foreground abstract foliage that's sort of sitting down here. As you can see, I'm being like really quick at creating these marks.
Baby, one more trip around the sun, and we'll gather here where land will see, where we can be as one. It is all in our hands, and we know the change will surely come. This life of time, it can be. It's all in our hands. It is all in our hands.
Okay, and then one last thing, that just want to create that light source in the middle of that sun with oil 5. Just want to brighten that up ever so slightly. I'm going to use that Drake tool. I'm just going to go in with one of the greys and we're just going to tap over the base of those grasses in slightly different shades. So that's giving the illusion of sort of foreground depth as well. And then before you know it, you've created a really stunning abstract piece of art for your Samsung TV. So a traditional landscape would have sort of loads of detail in this. This has got minimal detail with just some real clever mark making that gives off the impression that, you know, that could be a field, these could be grasses. And then just using the combination of the different colours in this colour set that you can download, you can create that ultra modern abstract painting for your living space as well, or for your digital TV, which this one is for. So in some of my future videos, I'm going to be showing you how some of this art is going to look in real life on one of the Samsung Frame TVs. So if that's something that you're into, please subscribe to this channel. I don't just do digital art. I started this channel doing traditional paintings, abstract paintings, and I will be getting back to abstract paintings. But as I've explained in some of my previous videos, we've moved house just before Christmas and I'm still trying to sort out all the rooms to get everything in order, which is taking up a lot of my time at the moment and not enough time to paint, and I think that's what life does. So I think a lot of you have probably got that problem that, you know, you really want to do paint but you just don't find the time. But yeah, you've got to force yourself to make your time to paint. And I think this is the good thing about the iPad Pro and the Apple Generation 2 pencil, because it does feel really realistic as to you actually putting paint down, and you can create some really instant brilliant mark making. I'm going to now mock up this image quickly on the Samsung Frame TV and put it in its natural environment so you can sort of see how it's going to look. So let's do that now. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and mocked up the image on the Samsung Frame TV just so you can sort of see what it would look like in its natural environment. So this gives you a real good indication of what it's going to look like on the actual TV. As I say, stick around, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification, because I'm going to be doing a series of Samsung Frame TV pieces of art, and I'm going to be showing you how to create your own art. And there'll also be some links to some of the art that I'm creating that you can download and view on your Samsung TVs as well. So any smart TV will allow you to bring up a photo, but the thing that Samsung have got really right with this TV, the way that it mounts to the wall is completely flat to the wall, and you can interchange the frames as well on the TV. I think they're just magnetic and they just snap into place. And the whole gallery section to the Samsung Frame TV allows you to sort of add these matte inserts, so just like how a picture frame would look, exactly like this piece of art that you can sort of see. And that really gives the illusion of an actual painting on the wall. And they're really clever as well because they've also got sensors as well, so when you walk into the room it instantly throws up a piece of art onto the TV itself. So, and it also adjusts that lighting to the natural environment that it's in. So if you've got sun shining through the window, it will naturally brighten up the TV to make that piece of art look as real as possible in your living room or your living space. So I think they're absolutely brilliant. And the fact that you can sort of interchange pieces of art instantly onto your wall and disguise that TV as a picture frame, I think is the future of how TV should be. With all that being said, you have a great week, keep painting. Until next week, then YouTube is suggesting your next video to watch right here.